everybody. I have our dog Louie on my lap, so he may pop up at some point in the midst of this recording. I was thinking about all that is going on with the governor's stay-at-home orders and all that means, and thinking about families and spouses that are home and how they're getting on each other's nerves. And was reflecting on that, and I came across a reading from an editor of a journal called Weavings from 2011 that I think has some relevance for us in terms of what I'm thinking about. And I thought I'd read that and then maybe talk about how that there are some parallels to what he's talking about maybe in our world and in our homes in particular this morning. So he says this, he says, "No greater love than this is to lay down your life for one of your friends." John 15:13. With these words, Jesus adds specificity to the command that his disciples are to love one another as he has loved them. Soon this specificity will become disturbingly concrete as Jesus lays down his life on the menacing altar of his enemies, entering in the unfathomable agony of physical torture and spiritual abandonment. His ascent to Golgotha and descent into hell are culminating events in a life given wholly to the art of loving. Even in the incarnation, Jesus lays down his life in order to enter and share ours. Though he was in the form of God, he did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in human likeness. Philippians 2:6 and 7. Early theologians recognized that in Jesus, God became fully human without either separation or confusion of God's being and human being. In the mystery of divine love that Jesus embodies, there is at once no distance and yet immeasurable spaciousness between God and humanity. I love that image. God's love seeks the most profound intimacy with us, but never in a way that encroaches on our freedom. To live in the paradox of no distance and yet spaciousness in our own relationships is fundamental to laying down our life for others. Like Jesus, we refrain from taking self-serving advantage of our status, knowledge, or power when we extend our love to others. Love constrains us from opposing on others our deepest convictions or our best intentions. The spaciousness that opens when we set aside our own advantage permits us to take on the risky initiative of reaching out to others. Once more, we follow the pattern of divine love. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. Our love first requires us to shed the invulnerability of withholding ourselves from others until we think we know how they will respond. When we cease clinging to our supposed security, we lay down our life for our friends. The initiative is risky because it opens us, as it does God, to the possibility of hurtful misunderstandings and rejection. If the cross is the most acute example of this in the history of God's relationship with us, it is not the only one. When Israel's infidelity pierced God's heart, pained divine anger flashes out in vengeful threats, but finally softens into tender reconciliation. Hosea 2. Gazing out over Jerusalem, the holy city so hostile to him, Jesus laments, "How often have I desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing." Luke 13:34. Beyond this pain, however, lies the generosity of love that transcends and transforms conflict with the freedom to be for others. From such generosity and freedom flows a new creation. I was thinking about that as all of us are now kind of called to be at home and be, for lack of a better way to think of it, being on top of each other. Our children are around us, our spouses are around us, and there is in this uncertainty in which we live, there is a building of stress that even if you say, we'll get through this, we'll be fine, that's true, and we will. But there is still stress and anxiety that comes from it, even if you are in a good place. We also know there are many who are not in good places, whether they have lost their jobs, they will potentially lose their jobs, or they're wondering how they're going to pay their bills or feed themselves and their family. There is incredible stress and anxiety in our culture, in our system, if you will, and that gets translated into our homes. We see it as we snip and bite at each other. We get frustrated with our kids and they don't do what we ask them to do. All of that is not because we're just under the house together in ways that we normally aren't. That's a part of it, but that's also what brings stress. But we also have the stress and the anxiety of what's happening around us on a larger scale. Am I going to get sick? Is my parents, are they going to contract the virus? Are they going to make it through if they're vulnerable? Am I going to make it through if I'm vulnerable? That's all to say, when we understand the stress we're under, the anxiety that we're experiencing, it is the opportunity then to, as the reading has said, lay down our life for others. And I think the way we lay down our life for others is to simply give each other some grace. To cut each other some slack, if you want to put it that way. To understand that we're all in this together, we're all experiencing the same things. And the more we can acknowledge that, the easier it is to lay down your life, to let those things that are frustrating about your kids roll off your back. That's what I want to say to us today. As we're thinking about what does it mean to spend 2 weeks at home if we haven't already spent a week or more at home. Remember how Christ laid down his life for you. May you do that for those in your world, starting very easily with those who are under your roof. God bless you all, and thanks for watching. I'm going to see if I can pull my Louie up. Here, come here, buddy. Here's Louie. Here's my buddy. And that helps to have someone that you can be around as well. God bless. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.